Hello, my lovely stitchy friends. How are you all? It is Friday, the 24th of November, and this is Flosstube number 22. My name is Sally, and I'm also known as Flossie Sews and Grows on YouTube and on Instagram. And first of all, I'd just like to wish all my friends in the United States a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're having wonderful weekends with lots of lovely pumpkin pie and turkey and family and friendship. I hope you're enjoying it as much as possible. And if you're not with family and friends, I hope that you're having some peace and quiet and getting some stitching done. Welcome to Flosstube number 22. It's been a couple of weeks. It's been about 3 weeks since I last filmed. I wanted to film sooner because I've just had such a wonderful response to my last Flosstube. I think that's because I've had some great shout outs for some lovely people who I will thank. So I really wanted to get back on quite quickly and say hi to everybody that was new and have a chat. But I've just felt I've been really quite rotten for the last 2 weeks. I've had a bit of a cold. I think you might be able to tell I'm still a little bit kind of heady. I do have a cup of tea with me. I don't normally like to drink when I'm filming, but I've just thought it's just there in case. And if I need to have a stop and have a cough, I'll try and pause you so that you're not subjected to that. But yeah, so it's about 3 weeks, and I've had so many new subscribers come and join me. So welcome to all of you. To anyone that's new, and thank you for coming and subscribing and coming back and watching today. I'd love to know a little bit more about anyone that's new. I'd love to know who sent you over. I'd love to know who mentioned me that made you think, oh, I'm going to go and have a look. So please do put a comment below and say hi. I do reply to all comments, not necessarily straight away, but as soon as I can. Family life can be quite busy occasionally, but I do try and respond to everybody. And that's one of the fabulous things about this community. We're also friendly, and it's just great to connect with people all around the world. So welcome to all my existing subscribers as well, and some of my old friends who I've known for a long time who I also know watch this. So thank you. So yes, thank you to the wonderful shout outs as well that I've had over the last couple of weeks. That has no doubt led to quite a few of you coming and joining me. Michelle from Mama Loves You GB, she gave me a shout out, I think the week after Stitch in London. We'd met there. We'd met before once, and we met again and had a good chat at Stitch in London. And she shouted out Sarah and I for doing our 50 new starts for next year. And yes, we are a bit crazy. Kirsty at Daisy K Primitives. It was lovely to have a shout out from, sorry, not Kirsty, Christy, from Daisy K Primitives. It was lovely to have a shout out from Christy. I've been watching Christy for a while, and I love her. She stitches quite primitive style things, and I love that. I love that style. So I love how she decorates her home. So she's well worth going and having a watch. Nadine at, it's Nads_X Stitch. That's NADZ_X Stitch. Nadine, I met at the Chantal. My words aren't coming out very well at all today, and we're not even 4 minutes in. The Chatelaine retreats I went to with Kate, Crafty Kate, in, is it June or July now? And Nadine's great. Love Nadine, and she has just the number of whips that Nadine has is just incredible. And I kind of thought initially that Nadine and I stitched totally different things. She stitches a lot of Mirabilia, she stitches Chatelaine, obviously, and I thought, oh, I don't do either of those things. But actually, when you go and watch Nadine, and she's just done, I think 3 or 4 videos going through all her whips, and she's allocating them to, wants to finish by the end of this year, wants to finish in 2024, and is a lot more longer term project. And actually there's quite a few things in her whips that I'm stitching as well, or I have stitched, so we do have a lot of stitching in common. So it's lovely to watch Nadine. So thank you for the shout out for Nadine. And actually she has inspired me a little bit for my big project for next year, my 50 new starts with Sarah from Sew Me Sarah. I decided I needed to get a little bit more organised. And behind where she films, Nadine has a shelf, and she has, you know, her top shelf is all her project bags, not flat but laid, you know, stood upright, and she's got 3 shelves, and she puts them in, you know, the order of how of when she wants to finish them, really, and how quickly she wants to work on them. So that's been really inspirational, and it's made me come and do a little bit of tidying in my sewing room. So I've got a chest of drawers in front of me, which I've made some space so that I can line up, as I'm kitting up my 50 new starts for 2024, I can line them up in that space, rather than at the moment they're in a small box that won't fit 50. So thank you for the inspiration, Nadine. As ever, Sally from Stitchy Sally mentions me every time without fail, because of course we do stitch together on a Wednesday with our Barbarana projects, but I think she gave me an extra special shout out this week, so thank you for that, Sally. Rachel at Stitchy Rach, we met at Stitch in London, so thank you for the shout out, Rachel. Loved Rachel, and we've got a couple of plans which I can tell you about later for some stitching together. Roz at Roz Clark Craft gave me a shout out too. Again, I met Roz at Stitch in London, and she's really lovely, and very Roz is really creative, and it's really interesting to listen to her floss tubes and see what she's up to. I had a shout out from a new floss tube to me, and that was from Rhonda, who is at Asprey's Echo Stitches in the States. And I went and then watched Rhonda, and it was a lovely floss tube which she filmed with her son Drew. Drew was on camera this time. I think on previous floss tubes he's been behind the camera and directing, but it was great to see him on there, and great. I think he's 12, so he's a little bit younger than my daughter, but great when Rhonda was talking to see Drew's expressions sat next to her of obviously what he thought about what she was saying. So it had me in giggles. I really loved it. So it's a lovely floss tube. And then of course Sarah from Sew Me Sarah has given me a shout out for in the last couple of videos, because we have our massive project for next year, our massive challenge of 50 new starts in 2024. So I will talk a little bit more about that at the end, but I do want to show you some stitching, because I haven't been 100%. It's been a good 2 weeks. I've managed to work still because I work from home, so it's easy to go and sit in front of the computer. It's quiet, I can just get on, and we've been very busy at work. We're a person down at the moment, so it's just been a little bit of a bigger workload, so it's just been getting on. But in between, when I've not been working, my kind of downtime has been stitching, because that kind of calms me, and well, it's I've not been rushing around, you know. We had a quiet weekend. I was supposed to go to a dance comp on Sunday with my daughter, and help out backstage, and I couldn't. I just felt rotten. So a friend, luckily one friend took her, another friend brought her home, and I sat at home and stitched. So I have actually managed to get quite a bit of stitching done, which has been fantastic. So I do have lots to show you, and I just realized I hadn't grabbed my board. Let me just check, is it in front of me here? Oh, typically it's not. Where could it be? Is it easily grabbable? Maybe not. There we go. We can surely manage without it. So let's get on with the stitching. So what have I been up to? So first of all, let me show you my progress on, well, so November. So I think my last floss tube was just about the end of October. So I started November with 10 whips, and I've stitched on 7 of them, so I can show you most of those. I've finished one. I've had one finish, but actually it's a secret stitch, so I can't show it to you. And then I've started another 3, and I know I wasn't going to have any new starts, but these are all smalls, and therefore one is for Secret Santa that I do with my friends in the village that I live in. We have a rather than buying each other presents, we do one Secret Santa present for another grown-up, and it has to be something that we've made. And so I finished the stitching. I've got to put it all together, and I've got a really good idea that I have been inspired by somebody. So that will be gifted. That will be gifted a week tomorrow. We have our Secret Santa get together early in December because one of our friends is going abroad for Christmas. So so I will be able to show you that probably on my next Flosstube. And I also am doing a secret stitch for Stitch in London. We have an exchange, so I know who my partner is. It's not somebody I've met, which is interesting. It's somebody who must have been at Stitch in London last year, who wasn't there this year. So I've just given that away to all my Stitch in London friends that I met this year. That I haven't got you. I've got somebody that I've not met before, so that's interesting. And but I'm well on the way with that one. And then another, yeah, so a couple of secret stitches finished, and still two to go. So what can I show you? Well, I can first of all show you my progress on the Four Seasons by Barbara Anna. Now it's the four ladies, and if any of you looked at my Instagram a couple of weeks ago, you'll see some of my progress. I'm going to put a picture up here. So that was my progress. And I'd started the Winter Lady. Now, despite taking this photograph and looking at the stitch, I didn't notice, and I don't think anybody else who looked at it, because nobody commented and said, I think you've got a huge error there. Nobody noticed that actually I had stitched the lady too high. So I had gone from, so winter's had to be frogged. So I had stitched from one of these leaves across and then read it from the wrong leaf. So actually my lady's dress was kind of up here. I think I've frogged from about here. It was completely in the wrong place, So I had to pull her out. And I was really upset, because actually I haven't taken a photo of where I'd got to, because I was too upset. I didn't want a reminder. But if you have a look on my Instagram, you can see the start that I'd made on the dress. Well, I had done quite a bit of the top bit of that winter dress, and her body and her hair. I'd done her hair. Oh, I was a bit cross. I had to frog a lot. And so I've not gone back to winter. I've gone across and I've started spring. So that is where I have got to with spring. And this is on a mystery fabric from my 40 count magic stash bag. And so I was gifted the kit by Nikki, the Canuck stitcher in Canada. She sent it to me, and she sent me over her leftover threads, which I'm running out of some of them now. So actually I am changing things here and there. So actually the aqua on the dress there I have subbed, and that is a Tom and Lily thread from, I think it's from the spring pack that I was sent. I won some fabric from Tom and Lily, and she also sent a thread. Haven't got it handy to show you. Oh, or have I? Yeah, so it's this beautiful colour, and it hasn't. I've just put that on a little thread drop. It didn't come on a thread drop, and it's from the spring pack, but I don't know what the colour is. I don't think it has a name, but it's a beautiful aqua, and it just fits. Excuse me, it just fits perfectly with that skirt. So I have made some progress on my Wednesday nights with Sally, although I had to rip out quite a lot of the progress that I had made. It happens, doesn't it? It happens. So my next whip is this one, and it is Mary Ann Kettle, Be Not a Dunce, from Mama Loves You GB. And this is where I have got so far. So I started this, excuse me, I started this last November for Black Sampler November, and I probably, did I stitch about half of it maybe, and then I was struggling a little bit. It's a 40 count fabric, it's from my Magic Stash bags, I'm not sure what it is, but it is quite tight. So it has been a bit of a slow go, but I think as my eyes have got more and more used to 40 counts, I'm coping with it a little bit better. But yeah, there is one mistake in this. There is one mistake, and I'm not going to point it out. You don't need to know. Nobody needs to know. But I am really pleased with this, and it's not far from a finish, which I'm really pleased. That will be finished by the end of the month. And my next one that I have been working on is, this is Peacock. Make sure I'm getting the right name. Can't show you. This is one I bought from Just Cross Stitch magazine, June 2023, and it's Peacock Manor from Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery. You can now buy this as a standalone pattern. It was released at the Needlework Market, and this is how far I have got. So if I've got it, I'm not sure if I've got a picture of this, of how it was before I started this, but if I have, I'll pop it up here for you to see. This is how far I've got. As you can see, this month I have been house building, so I wanted to get that house completed, which I have done. So really pleased with that. That is on 40 count, and it's vintage cream. It's a Zweigart, bit of scrap I had left over from something else. So very pleased with that and the progress. That is in my lovely Ness craft room project folder. Ooh, the thing's falling out. There we go. My next, I did some more house building. So my next project is Winds of Autumn, from the Winds of Autumn book, and it is Mighty Oak. I think lots of you have been stitching this, and Kate had inspired me. So Kate from Crafty Kate had inspired me to change the colour of the house, and we had discussed Kate was going to stitch it in red and I was going to stitch it in blue, and I did have doubts. I was like, shall I, shan't I, shall I, shan't I? And then I was watching Handmade by Sarah W, and she had stitched her house in blue, so I decided to do mine. So again, I have built my house, and I finished building my house. So I was determined, before I showed you this again, I was going to get my house built. And I've worked on quite a few of the leaves higher up, and trying to get that border done as well. So that's the first border, and then there's a second one around it. So again, I'm making I'm making good progress on this. As you can see, I've got one grey squirrel and I've got one red squirrel. We get grey squirrels here, but I believe on Anglesey, which is a local an island in Wales, just off the North Wales coast, that has got a bridge across, they have red squirrels. So we do get red and grey squirrels in Wales. So I decided to have them both on here, but I think the grey squirrels have got rid of the red. So yeah, so we wouldn't see them at the same time together, I don't think. Another house building project. So this is Peace on Earth from Cottage Garden Samplings. And again, oh, Mighty Oak, 40 counts from the Magic Stash bag. Peace on Earth. So again, I finished my house. I think because I haven't been feeling great, and I'm still not great, as you can tell. Doing houses has been really good because it's been quite simple. I've not had to count too much. So yeah, So that house is complete as well. So I'm really pleased with that. That's turning out beautifully. And it would be nice to get this one finished for Christmas. We'll see. That is also on 40 count from my magic stash bag. It is a Zweigart fabric though. I'm not sure what colour it is, but it's beautiful and I've loved stitching on it. And that's my bag for Peace on Earth. There we go. And then another house, which nearly finished. So this is Moonshine Cabin. This is by Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery, and I'm keeping it in my stitching project bag that I made. This is what it will look like. And this is where I've got to. So I do need a board for this. I do need something behind this one. Let's put the project bag behind it. So as you can see, I am almost complete with that house. Again, this is a 32 count, and it's either, I think it's a Zweigart, I think. I'm not sure actually. It could be, it's a bit stiff. It could be a Permin. I'm not 100% sure. So I think it's either chalkboard. I think it's chalkboard or slate, one of those colours. It's 32 count, and I am struggling. I do struggle to stitch with this one. I've learnt that if I have a light above and a light below, that really helps me see the holes. So it is slow going. It's really slow going, but it's still enjoyable. I started stitching that last year as part of a stitch along with Stitchy Sally. Sally finished it. Charlie Feathers was stitching it, and I think when Sally started it, Charlie said, I'm going to finish it. So they're all finished. So I just need to catch up with that. But it is a lovely one, and really enjoying it. So that's on so as you can see, I've done quite a lot of stitching, and I've done quite a lot of house building, quite a lot of trying to get houses done. I haven't touched my Remember Me, my Teresa Koget Remember Me, which has got a house. I've felt that house is a little bit more complicated. It's got an intricate kind of pattern in it, so I haven't done that one. But most of those are projects that I'm really keen to get finished this year. Yeah, to try really trying to get my whips done and out of the way for next year's big project. But that hasn't stopped me from purchasing a few things. So I have got a little bit of stash enhancement. Oh, there's a needle in this. There's a needle in this project bag. Where's that? That's come out of. I did put something in it the other day and then took. I've got a little needle minder on my lamp where I keep my needles. So Charlie Feathers posted about some project bags that were for sale going for sale on Etsy, and these are by Wolfie Stitchers, but actually it's that who is Lindsay. It's actually Lindsay's mum, and Lindsay had asked her mum to make her some project bags, and she's been practicing, and she'd made a few and said, oh, they're not great. Lucy said, well, let's put them on Etsy anyway, but just at a slightly reduced price. So Charlie messaged me and said the word chickens. Actually, she sent me a photograph of the bag with chickens on it, and this is it. So as you can see, chickens, and we all know that I love a chicken or two. So I couldn't resist going over and having this one, and it came really quickly. And I have to say, you know, yes, it's imperfect. I would say it's only really the little corners that are a little bit, the mitered corners are a little bit skew with, but other than that, it's a great project bag, and this will contain my chicken stitching for next year. So I'm really pleased with that. So thank you very much, Lindsay's mum. And actually, if you haven't already realised that Lindsay has just released her first Flosstube, and it's a whopper. It's a really, really lovely and good Flosstube. I really enjoyed watching it, and Lindsay, it was like watching one of my first Flosstubes, and I think certainly if Kathy and Stephanie watch it, it will make them giggle and think, oh, that's just like Sally, because quite often I think Lindsay showed us all of her whips, and as she brought them out, she said, this is one I started on 32 count. I now stitch on 36 and 40 count, and I'm not so sure about it. And I just thought, that was me. That was me. Can you all remember me about a year ago? I was like, oh, I've done this on 32 count, and I'm not so happy with it now. Or I've done it with 2 strands, and just like me, Lindsay started stitching on 36 count and 40 count with 1/2, and it's just a convert. And yes, it was just hilarious. It was just hilarious to see it. And I just thought, yes, that's me. That was me. That was me. So yeah, but go and watch Lindsay, because she was an absolute joy. She had some fantastic projects, and really enthusiastic, and just lovely, 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 lovely Flosstube. So do go and watch it. So talking about 40 count fabric, I I bought a nice big meter of this is aqua. So this is Vigart 40 count, and it's a meter of aqua. I saw that Lovecrafts was having a sale. I don't know if it was Black Friday sale. Don't know if there was anything to do with Black Friday, but they had a meter of aqua, and I think in 40 count they've also got a pink, pale pink, and actually the aqua has come. I thought it might be a bit garish and a bit bright, but it's going to be perfect actually for some winter stitching with white snowflakes and things like that. I think it's going to be great. But it was £27 for a meter of linen, 40 count linen. I kind of couldn't leave it behind. Couldn't leave it behind. And yes, there were a couple of DMC threads that I needed, so I was easily able to get up to £30 for free postage. And I just think this will be quite a versatile kind of colour, and it might be, you know, there's a big project. Have you seen the Cottage Garden Samplings houses? Well, the first one is beautiful, and I think the second one is going to be a castle. And I think Michelle from Mama Loves You GB showed the first one in her Flosstube, and I thought, oh, I'd love to do that. But then I thought I'd really like to do it on one big piece of fabric. So I did comment and ask Michelle if she thought that if I started it, would it count as one of my 50 for next year, or would each of the houses count as one, so that counts as 12 if I did it on the same piece of fabric? And she thankfully she gave me permission that she thought it would count as 12. So I am going to just wait to see a couple more of the houses to see what they're like. But I can definitely see some of those houses in my future. Whether I do all 12 and do it on one piece, or whether I just pick a few and do 1 or 2, we'll see. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing those come out. But yeah, I couldn't leave that behind. Absolutely great find, I think, for future use and having in my stash. I also, so today is Black Friday here in the UK. I think that is a bit of a something relatively new for us, but I think it's linked with you in America. Those of you who are American, that we kind of follow your lead a little bit now, that we have it as a day where people reduce things and there's sales and Amazon. But actually on Etsy, a couple of people had Black Friday sales, and I don't know if you can remember, in my last video I talked about Stitch in London, and that Kelly from Cosford Rise had been there, but because I hadn't managed to make the first day when she had her stall, I missed being able to see her models and seeing what she had. And I managed to, luckily, she left early on the Saturday, and I really luckily managed to grab her before she went and said, oh, there is one of your patterns that I've been lusting after for a long time and I really, really would like, which was the Merry Christmas for All So she whipped one out of her bag and I was able to buy it. But it really wasn't until, you know, people started showing me the patterns that they'd bought over the weekend, and I was like, oh, a chicken one, and I didn't see it, and if I'd have seen it I'd have bought it. So today, Black Friday, Etsy, 25% off, I had to buy easy packings with those 3 beautiful, well, I would say two are chickens and one's a cockerel. Love this one, absolutely adore it. I think it's beautiful. And so Stitchy Rach, I spotted that she'd bought that on her last, she'd bought it at Stitch in London, so that is going to go, that will be one of my 50 for next year, definitely. And I think Stitchy Rach will stitch that at the same time as me, and I think she also does have the Happy Christmas to all. But it was 25% off if you bought 2, so you know, that's buy another one as well. So I also bought the Jolly Happy Soul, which I really like. I don't know if I'll get time to do this year, or if that will be one of my 50 for next year. We'll see. And then a couple of other ones that I saw this week. So I was watching Lisa this week, who is Lost in Stitches, and I think Lisa started her Flosstube not too long after me, so I think she's been going for almost a year. And Lisa is lovely. Lisa is in Canada. I think she's near Edmonton, and does some beautiful stitching, and she has just done some designs. And I just thought, so you know, unfortunately she has breast cancer, and just she has the most positive attitude, and is really upbeat about what is going on in her life, and you know, it just makes it a joy to watch her and give her hope. And I just thought, you know what, I love these designs. I love these designs, and just thought I'm going to go and support her with her new venture. So I've got this one, which is Winter Snow. And despite being British, I love those red. I love the red cardinals. Excuse me. I love the red cardinals. So there's Winter Snow, and there's also the Winter Snow minis as well. So I may actually try and get one of these done before Christmas. Maybe the snowflakes one. I think that's standing out at me, with some of the lovely Roxy Floss thread that I bought in Stitch in London. I think would look gorgeous. I think I've got a blue, and I've also Great Lakes. I think the blue from Great Lakes. Actually, I wonder what I haven't even had a look at what Lisa recommended, or what her recommended was. And then I also, well, this is a bit of stash enhancement. It is it's kind of Stitchy kindness, but it was also kind of a bit of a swapsy. So this was sent to me by the lovely Karen, who I also call Annette and Janet, I think, who I met at Stitch in London. And Karen said to me, oh, I've got a pattern you might quite like, and it's got chickens on it. And of course it is Hens and Chicks by Brenda Gervais. And she said, oh, I should have bought it with me, because I knew I was going to see you, because she's watched my Flosstube and knows I like chickens. And she said, but I'll post it to you. And actually I'd got a couple of charts that I was going to put on the de-stash table the next morning. And I said, oh, well, I tell you what, would you like one of mine? So we did a bit of a swap. So that arrived just after my last Flosstube. So so that is going to actually be one of my first, within the first 10 of my 50 new starts for next year, because I absolutely love that. So, and I did have another bit of Stitchy kindness as well. So the lovely Michelle at Mama Loves You GB contacted both Sarah and I and said, you know, I'd love to gift you a chart for part of your 50 new starts for next year. So Sarah and I have actually both picked the same chart, so it will be something that we are putting in one of our starts for next year that we will tell you about probably nearer the time, and encourage you to come and stitch along with us. So that, I'll tell you a little bit more about that one when we get to it. But thank you very much, Michelle, for gifting me a chart for next year. So what else have I got to tell you? Plans. So my plans for the next couple of weeks at least are really to concentrate on getting some of my whips finished. So, you know, Be Not a Dunce will be finished this week. It's going to be finished. It's going to be finished before next Friday. A week today is the 1st of December. It probably, if I work on it hard, it'll probably get finished over the weekend. Mighty Oak, I'd like to finish that one by the end of the year. Peacock Manor, excuse me. Peacock Manor will definitely get finished. There's not a huge amount more to stitch on that. So that will be a finish before the end of the year. Peace on Earth, I would quite like to get that finished for Christmas. Not an easy stitch, because again, the 40 count on that, I'm finding there's a lot of counting. There's quite a few things, I think, on it that, where's the pattern? You know, there's a few things that aren't close to each other. So there's a few bits of real kind of counting that you have to do on that one. Excuse me. But I think I've got the house. The house was really the bulkiest bit, but there's still quite a bit with the border. I've done quite a lot of that white there. The bird, obviously. So yeah, I think by Christmas, yes, fingers crossed on that one. And then my other whips, just progress. I think if I hadn't made that horrendous mistake on the Four Seasons, the Barbara Anna Four Seasons, that would have been, I would have been able to finish that by the end of the year. But I think I'd spent 3 or 4 nights stitching on it after my Wednesday night with Sally before I realised what a horrendous mistake I'd made. And so it was quite a few wasted nights. But I can't dwell on it. And of course, my biggest plans are for next year, for my Fun for 50 Sal 2024 with Sarah from Sew Me Sarah. So it's very exciting. My planning has come to a little bit of a standstill the last 2 weeks with not feeling very well. I have got, so John, I could not have asked to have done this with anyone better. I really couldn't. Sarah is just, she's wonderful. She's absolutely wonderful. And we're having such a good time in planning this. You know, the little plans we have together. Sarah's, I'm quite organised, but Sarah's way more organised than me. And so, you know, she's actually, despite it being my idea and me having to do a little bit of persuasion to get her to join me, she's just gone and really is running with it, and it's just wonderful. And I'm just really grateful because I haven't felt great. I obviously started my new job in April. I took on more hours from September. And but Sarah's really keeping me on my toes, which I'm really grateful for, because I think if she hadn't have joined me, I probably would have done it, but it might have kind of unraveled a little bit along the way maybe, but it won't now because it's I'd like to say it's organised chaos. Probably for me, it probably is for me. I have got, I mean, you can't see what's in front of me, but I have got, you know, I've got a box of my normal whips. I've also got a big pile of the whips I've just shown you. But in front of me, I have got a kind of, the chest of drawers is clear so that I can make, you know, do my plan of having my project bags stacked ready. But it's kind of also a bit of an area where I can plan. So I have got, you know, I've got a basket with my charts in, which are pretty much my 50 plus a few extra. There's a box of fabric. Obviously I've got all my floss behind me. I've got floss drops ready to go so that I can pull a few threads for each project and have a few in there. So so it is, the last 2 weeks I haven't done an awful lot, but I'd started to make a start. So it's slightly organized chaos, but it's this is a fun thing that we're doing, and I know some of you think we're absolutely crazy, but we're just going to enjoy it. But I know that some of you are going to join us as well. So and join us on just perhaps 1 or 2 projects here and there. So I think when I first Sarah and I actually sat down at Stitch in London, we kind of decided that it's got to be flexible for both of us. It's got to be something that we both enjoy doing. So, you know, there aren't really any rules, but we have made one agreement. We've got one agreement that we are going to. So we've got a bit of a skeleton of a plan that we are going to do probably 1 project a month, that we're going to do the same thing. We're going to stitch together and probably start on the same day as well for those. And then everything else will be, you know, we can fit around that. For example, I was really keen to start more of my projects in January, because January is quite quiet. The weather's bad, so we're not out in the garden. So, you know, I think somebody when we first started talking about it had suggested, well, you can do 4 a month, 4 new starts a month. But actually, I'd like to do more in January and February, and perhaps a few less in the summer where we might be away with the allotment. So, you know, there's a rough kind of skeleton of a plan for the 12 that we're going to start 1 a month together, and then we are just both working around what we want to do individually as part of that. But one thing we did do, we asked you lovely viewers out there to give us some ideas and some prompts to perhaps give us some new ideas for new things that we could stitch, and we had a phenomenal response, and I think there were 86 ideas from all of you out there of prompts. So perhaps stitch something with purple thread, or stitch a pattern by Blackbird, or I think one was stitch a pattern by Yasmin Made with Love, and we've both got patterns from Yas, so that was a really easy one for both of us. Stitch something with a banana. Well, I've kind of, no, that's not happening. That wasn't actually a prompt. That I think was a bit of a joke. So it's been wonderful. We have got a lovely number of prompts that we can work to, and Sarah has kindly done a spreadsheet, which hopefully she has done a link on her Flosstube to it, and I'm going to see if I can link it as well below. I'm hoping it's just a case of copy and paste, and so that you can see it from my channel as well. And so all of our prompts are on there, and we will try and do, you know, there'll be a certain amount that you know, I think there's a prompt of stitch a pin cushion, and I think there's also a prompt of stitch with Roxy Floss thread, and I've got a project where I'll be doing both of those. So, you know, although there's 86 ideas, there's going to be perhaps 2 or you know, there sometimes could be 2 or 3 prompts that we can incorporate into one project. So, you know, it's just fantastic that we have, you know, we've really hoping to take you along on our journey with you by being part of it, and by giving us all those prompts, which has been great. And there's been some really interesting ones, some really funny ones, and you know, I think we will try and do as many as we can. But there might just be the odd 1 or 2 that we struggle with. But so my kind of first project, we are both starting, and it's in my lovely bag that Sarah gifted me at Stitch in London. So we are both going to be stitching our 1st of January. We are both starting on the 1st of January this twin bird pin cushion, which is from Chloe Wood, who is Girl with the Gavel Stitches. So this was a release at Stitch in London for Stitch in London attendees, but actually Chloe is releasing this to the wider stitching community on her Etsy channel in January. So we hope that you'll go over and have a look at that, and if anyone would like to join us in January, that will be released in January, so you'll be able to come along a little bit later in the month maybe and join us on that one. So I am trying, so I've got fabric and thread in that. I'm not going to share it with you now in case I change my mind, because it is happening. Sarah and I both got a spreadsheet on a shared shared folder that we both can look at, and we are both changing things. You know, I've just gone and bought four new patterns that have got more than four because minis. You know, we are both changing things, and I think I had originally done my kind of January and February list with a lot of smalls to try and get a few smalls under my belt that I could perhaps finish quite quickly as well, so that I don't have a huge number of whips. But then I've kind of changed my philosophy a little bit, that actually I've thought, actually no, I need to perhaps be stitching the stuff that I really, really, really want to stitch. Maybe I should be doing that first. So I have gone in and I've changed my order a little bit, because there are a few things, and there's a few pieces of bigger fabric that I've got that I've thought, oh well, I'd like to do a small on that, but I'd like to do something bigger. And I'm thinking, well, if I start the bigger thing first, I can then see what leftover fabric I've got for smalls a bit later on. So it's a moving beast. It's definitely a moving beast. But it's just so far we're having fun, and we are going to have fun next year. Hence our hashtag is going to be fun for 50 Sal 2024, so that you can come and find us on Instagram and have a look at what we're up to. And if you want to use that hashtag as well to show us anything that you're doing, please also tag us in, tag both Sarah and I in, so that we can see, because I know Instagram with the hashtags at the moment isn't amazingly great. So please do tag us in as well. So it's going to be a great year. I've got a few people that have said that they are going to join us with certain projects, which is going to be wonderful. And you know, there's a couple of friends who are 50 next year as well. I think Sarah mentioned two. I think Karen and Enid, who are going to join us and stitch 50. And then I know certainly Ros Clark is 50 next year as well. And I said to Ros, come and join us. No, I could not have that many whips. So I think at some point I hope that we will get Ros to join us on one of our projects. So yeah, it's I'm hoping, as I'm starting to feel better, I can get back to the planning and get back over that side of the room and get working on the patterns and getting them kitted up. But I think quite a bit of it will be done at the time as I go along as well. But yes, really exciting. Really looking forward to 2024 and all the stitching it's going to bring me. So there we go. That's it. I have managed, I think, without a coughing fit. I'm sorry I've had to clear my throat a few times, and I'm sorry that there's been a few times where I've had to have a drink, but I hope that you've managed to put up with that and get through this with me, because I really wanted to talk to you, and I wanted to show you all my stitching, because I feel I've done quite a lot, and yeah, wanted to show you my progress. And I have got a big pile of finishes here that need fully finishing, so I might go and spend a couple of hours now while this uploads, hoping I've not got too much editing to do, try and get some things finished as well, fully finished as well. I'd really like to be able to show you some of my Christmas things that I stitched last year that I didn't fully finish, that fully finished. So yes, lots to do. But yeah, wonderful. Love stitching, love talking to all of you, love seeing your stitching as well. So thank you for joining me. I do hope that the weekend is wonderful for all of you, and especially those of you who are celebrating and giving thanks for all the wonderful things that you have in your life. It's, yeah, the world isn't a great place at the moment, is it? And you know, it's just so much tragedy and sadness, and yeah, it kind of leaves me without words on how cruel as human beings we can be to each other. And I just, I just send thoughts to all of you who are out there who might be struggling with what's going on in the world at the moment, and I just send my prayers and hope for peace, that we can have a peaceful world, and people who are out there who are hurt, who are injured, who are hungry, who are suffering, that it can end, because it's horrible. And I count my blessings every day. I really do. I've lovely life, lovely home, lovely family. I'm so grateful, and I'm just sad that that's not the same for everybody else. So let's be thankful. Let's count our blessings, and just have lovely weekends, everybody, and happy stitching. And I hope to see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.